Go back now and watch that. See how many are you going to go back now and
see
watch
me like,
that scene, right? Love it. All right, memorizing lines, because that is, as an actor, is one of the hardest things. God, did I struggle with that for sure. Yeah. What is the trick to memorizing, especially when you're handed, a script that you're in a lot of the script?
Some of it is practice, for sure, and getting better at it with time. But I always like to think of it isn't really memorizing. I don't memorize lines like you memorize the dates of the French Revolution in school. You know your lines like you know the words to your favorite song, right? You know them because they mean something to you. And, if my line is, "Oh, I'm doing great," I only know that's my line because you asked me, "How are you?" And I go, "Oh, right. I have that thing where I say, I'm doing really great. And I'm doing really great because this thing happened to me, and I have that in my mind. So when I say it, it's real." So I don't actually have to memorize, she says, "How are you doing?" And I say, "Oh, I'm really great." You just know it because it's a response to something, and you've supported it with all this great stuff that's happening for you. So I actually don't, if you ask me to just recite lines, I can't do it. But if you give me the context and give me time to look at it and really learn it by heart, which I think is very different than memorization. Learn by heart, I think, is the key to acting.
Great tip. Thank you for that. I'll definitely put that into the next use. Out of all of your roles that you have played, which one has been the one that you're like, wow, this really resonated with me, and which one do you miss the most?
You will be unsatisfied by this answer because it's not a TV role. There's two parts. In college, I did Helen in All's Well That Ends Well, which is a Shakespeare play. I'm a big Shakespeare nerd. And it's one of my favorite plays because she's crazy amazing. She's this poor girl who's in love above her station. She's also super smart, and she goes to the king and she cures his incurable disease. He's then like, "You're amazing, you can marry anyone you want." And then by the end of the play, she has the guy she wants, she's pregnant with his kid. The king will basically do anything she says, and it's just, she drives the entire plot. And I love it. She's not reactive, she's active through the whole story, and it's really her story. So I miss that part. I would love to play that again at some point in my career. And then I played Polly Peachum in Three Penny Opera by Bertolt Brecht. And she's a twisted little minx. And it was just really fun. It was a great production. I love all that music so much. So yeah, those are the two parts I'd love to do again.
That's awesome. So now that you finished Daredevil, Punisher, and you didn't have another 48 hours that you were jumping into another role,
no.
It became like what's next? Where are you now? What's going on now?
Yeah, well, someone told me I should say that I'm fun-employed. That's the pun I'm supposed to use to make myself feel better about it. But yes, I don't have a job at the moment. I'm auditioning, we were saying backstage that you don't go entirely back to square one when jobs finish, but you are starting again, and you certainly get to go into rooms that maybe you wouldn't have had access to before the job, and you make your way up, but it's not like anyone's beating down my door to
which is wild. I think I mentioned this to you, and I'd love for you to share it with them, because my thought, and I don't know if some of you feel this way, but I'm looking at, well, now we have Netflix, now we have Amazon Prime, now there's so many different channels, you got Facebook Watch, you got all of these different programs, and I'm thinking, wow, as an actor, this is an amazing opportunity to be able to play, or have the opportunity, right, to be hired, because there's so much more that you can play in.
Yeah, there's a lot of content, but there's also still a lot of actors. In fact, when the recession first hit, there was a statistic that came out that said, there's one job for every 4 people. And I was like, oh, well, that's still better than acting. My job is recession-proof. Who knew? So it's still a really tough odds. And the fact is, you go on hundreds and hundreds of job interviews, and the chances are you won't get most of them, which is unique to this kind of profession. But also because there's so much content, it also kind of dilutes everything, and not that many people watch a show anymore because we're all spread out. There's a few huge hits that people, get the big numbers. for the most part, it's this kind of niche market, which is very cool for content. But in terms of sort of career building, you just kind of have to take what speaks to you and gravitate towards things that would be fun to do.
What do you want to do? Like right now, it's almost like you have a clean slate. What would you want to definitely get a role? Like, what is your bucket list role? If you had anything right now that you could play.
I mean, it's classical theater, it's Shakespeare. So I love Shaw as well. He has this amazing play called Mrs. Warren's Profession, which is about prostitution at the turn of the century. And it's really amazing. Again, kick-ass women. It's a mother-daughter story. The daughter wants to be an accountant. She's this like incredibly intelligent woman who went to school at a time when no one went to school. And the only reason she could is because her mother was a sex worker. And it's this wonderful conversation about what do we do for our families and morality and how all of that comes together. And I love that play. And I'm too old to play the daughter now, but in about 10 years I'll be the right age to play Mrs. Warren.
So what are you going to do in the next 10 years?
I don't know. keep pitching it until someone will let me do it.
I love it. That's great. All right, we want you guys to be part of this, so we have a Q&A set up. You can